With the release of Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny this past weekend, it is time to rank all of the Indiana Jones movies from number 5 to number 1, and I'm really excited to talk about it because it is my favorite movie franchise of all time. So let's get to number 5. At number 5, we have Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. So this is going to be a very controversial pick, as this movie and the next movie of Kingdom of the Crystal Skull are going to be flip-flopped quite a bit because a lot of people don't really like Crystal Skull, and I can see why, but for me, I think Dial of Destiny deserves the number 5 spot because while I do enjoy this movie, it does have quite a bit of its issues. It doesn't feel as big and epic as the other movies in this series, but I still enjoy this movie quite a bit. If you guys want to see my full review of the movie, it is on the channel. If you guys want to check it out, I'll leave the link in the description down below. I thought this was a very solid Indiana Jones film that had all of the great action, the spectacle, the visual flair, and the adventure that you come to expect. The 20 to 30 minute de-aging sequence in the beginning of the film is excellent, and it was definitely one of my favorite moments of the entire film. And I also really enjoyed the third act of the movie. That definitely is one of the most crazy aspects of any of the Indiana Jones movies, and I do think you guys should check this movie out if you haven't seen it already. At number 4, we have Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. So I think you guys already knew that this was going to be number 4 on the list because this was considered by many people for the longest time to be the worst Indiana Jones movie, and for a movie to not even be counted as from the original trilogy. And I can completely understand that. I don't think this movie is good as that original trilogy, but I still really enjoyed this movie quite a bit. I don't know if it's because I was really excited for this movie when it came out and I saw a bunch of times when I was younger, but when I rewatched it recently, I found this movie to actually be pretty good. Steven Spielberg comes back all these years later in 2008, and he makes a pretty decent movie that's set in the 1950s. Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones is older, but he can still kick some butt. And the fact that Harrison Ford was able to fit in his original costume from the first movie, it is incredible of how Harrison Ford has been able to take care of his body throughout the years, and he just shows it in this movie. There is a ton of really great action sequences, especially the one in the beginning of the film. I do like Shia LaBeouf as Mutt Williams. Even though I don't love the character, I thought he did a really good job, as well as having Karen Allen back as Marion Ravenwood. The production design of this movie is really damn good, with you always feeling like you are set in the 50s, and when they're discovering all these ancient artifacts in different places, you feel like you are there. The visual effects I found to be pretty good, especially when it comes to the practical effects, but there are a lot of bad CGI moments that everybody knows if you've seen these movies. But I found this movie to have a ton of energy and just a sense of adventure that Steven Spielberg is able to create within all of his movies, and I found this to be a very entertaining movie. And when people complain about the infamous fridge scene, like, have you seen any of the movies? Like, come on now. Kingdom of the Crystal Skull is also the highest grossing movie of the franchise, with making over $750 million worldwide, and is the only movie so far that hasn't received an Academy Award nomination. At number 3, we have Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom from 1984. Steven Spielberg is back for this newest sequel, and he does a great job in this movie with being a prequel to Raiders of the Lost Ark, in case a lot of you guys didn't know that. And I found this movie to be insanely entertaining. After we get through the opening action sequence like we usually do in all of the Indiana Jones movies and get a little bit exposition, this movie takes off and it doesn't step on the brakes once, as this movie is insanely over the top, gory, violent. I mean, this movie led to the MPAA creating the PG-13 rating, which Steven Spielberg suggested they would change change the rating in the future, and this happened 2 months after the Temple of Doom was released. This movie also features the best side character of any Indiana Jones film of Short Round, that's played by Ke Quan, that I have been dying to see an older version of Short Round. I love this character, and you can see the chemistry between Short Round and Indiana Jones is unmatched. Earlier this year, when Ke Quan won the Best Supporting Actor at the Academy Awards, Harrison Ford was so happy for him, and just seeing the picture together and their smiles, and every time they meet, there is a genuine friendship between the two of them, and I just love the chemistry between the two of them in this movie. They had some of my favorite scenes of the whole film that are not action sequences, and while I don't really love the character of Willie Scott, that's played by Kate Upshaw, I thought that Kate Upshaw did a pretty good job of being a really annoying, over-the-top character that just screams all the time. I mean, her character's ability in the Lego Indiana Jones video game is literally to scream, and that's how she beats up bad guys and breaks bricks and crap. I'm not even joking. I also really enjoy the production design in this movie, which is a staple of this series, with so many massive sets and so many extras, which Spielberg loves to do. The action sequences are so memorable. They feel so real, even though Harrison Ford didn't do a lot of stunts in this movie because he was injured, and you can't tell. This is such a well-made action film, and it is one of the highest grossing movies of the 1980s, and it makes sense because these Indiana Jones movies were so popular. The rewatch value on these movies is so damn good that you could literally go see these movies again on a re-release or at home, and you would still get the same experience because of the tone and direction that Spielberg takes these movies, and you just love this adventure. At number 2, we have Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade from 1989. This is the third film in the Indiana Jones franchise, and it is directed once again by Steven Spielberg. Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade is just one of those movies that I watched so many times at my grandparents' house as they had the VHS, and I just remember absolutely loving this movie, with now having a official PG-13 rating and the biggest budget of the series at the time, and it is more aligned with the first Indiana Jones film, where it is about the artifact of the Holy Grail and the adventures, and the Nazis are back in this movie, and it's so fun to watch Harrison Ford kick the crap out of Nazis, and it's always enjoyable for that. But one of the best aspects about this film is Sean Connery, who plays Indiana Jones' dad, Henry Jones Sr., and he is so good in this movie, and this is probably his most funny role I have ever seen. Sean Connery isn't known as a funny actor. I mean, the man was James Bond, he was in The Rock, he's been in so many great films. He delivers some of the best lines of the whole film. I love this father and son relationship that I would say is one of the best Father's Day movies that you could watch. It is so fun to watch the chemistry between these two, and just seeing this lack of a relationship that these two characters have with one another, and it's just really fun with this adventure and trying to find the Holy Grail. And I love the finale of the movie. This also has some of the best action of the whole series, with so many great moments like the tank sequence, which is pretty insane. It's over the top, and you can't help but loving it. At number 1, we have Raiders of the Lost Ark from 1981 that is directed by Steven Spielberg. This by far is the best Indiana Jones movie. It is simply phenomenal. It is probably one of the best movies I've ever seen in my whole life. It's probably the best action movie of all time. This is exactly what you have to do to make an action film. Almost every single action adventure movie has copied Raiders of the Lost Ark and just trying to capture the magic of that first film. And it is just perfect, from the opening action sequence with the boulder and the golden idol, and with having Marion Ravenwood played by Karen Allen, who is excellent, and the Cairo scene and the Germans and the the ending of the film where all these Nazis just get exploded. It is simply amazing. The production design, the visual effects are all top tier. When I think of Indiana Jones, I think of Raiders of the Lost Ark in terms of how balancing the dark elements of this movie and with being able to have this adventure aspect. There are no other movies that can truly top Raiders of the Lost Ark. And yes, it is Raiders of the Lost Ark, not Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. It is Raiders of the Lost Ark, and I will stand by that. Raiders of the Lost Ark is also one of my favorite movies of all time, if you guys can't tell of how much that I really love this movie. And I wanted to give you guys a couple of quick stats about the franchise, as this movie has made over $2.1 billion worldwide, which is insane. The film also has 14 Oscar nominations and 7 Oscar wins for this franchise, which is insanely incredible. Even though this is my favorite movie franchise, I have to say this might be one of the best movie franchises as well. Thank you guys so much for checking out this video, as I want to know below in the comment section, what is your ranking of the Indiana Jones movies? And is there any picks that you think are really bad and wrong, which I know I'm going to get a lot of them, so can't wait to hear all about it. Before you guys check out this video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, leave a like as you always should, and ring that notification bell so I can see you all in the following video.